project meant to study solar winds and geomagnetic flux. But deep in its core was something older, something never mentioned in documentation, buried beneath weather logs and in electromagnetic telemetry was Protocol AN. In its final phase, the project had aimed to create a controlled atmospheric tear in the ionosphere, a ripple that could allow subatomic signals to reach what the scientists then called non-local thresholds. It had been terminated when unexpected interference disrupted communications. Some claimed a signal answered back. 2 decades later, Dr. Iron Cause, a specialist in cognitive neurology and biointerface design, was given access to Wormhaven. Her team was commissioned to test the neuron path inductive system, a device that merged living neural tissue with an atmospheric broadcast relay. On paper, it was about long-distance brain-to-brain communication. In reality, they were testing the resonance of the dead. The project, codename Grey Whisper, utilized preserved cerebral tissues from anonymous cadavers, suspended in a nutrient solution enriched with synthetic neural lipid chains. When stimulated by specific frequencies derived from the station's original array, the tissue would generate waveform harmonics resembling dream state neural activity. The team called it the Lament Engine. On the 3rd day of full signal broadcast, the first anomaly appeared. It was a sound no louder than a sigh that came from inside the metal walls. It mimicked human breath, yet bore no source. The broadcast frequency had locked onto a forgotten shortwave band, one not listed in any of their equipment's auto-search protocols. When amplified, it resembled a low, warbling buzz that punctuated numbers spoken in a dry, toneless voice. The waveform was traced to an ancient abandoned frequency formerly used by UBB 76. Unknown to most of the team, the signal was not simply rebroadcast. It was fused with the neural harmonics of the Lament Engine. The hybrid signal was sent skyward, ricocheting through the weakened upper atmosphere, causing micro rifts in the ionosphere. These rifts behaved like wounds, shimmering with unreal geometries. Birds vanished mid-flight. Compass needles spun violently, and then the air changed. The smell came first, a metallic rot, thick with the undertone of scorched filth. Then the fog descended, not mist, but an opaque chemical haze composed of molecular compounds only present in advanced decomposition. Analysis confirmed this. The air was filled with trace elements of cadaveric decay. Something was waking. Dr. Koss and her team began to dream. Not abstract illusions, but shared landscapes. Each spoke of vast stone corridors suspended over black oceans. Wind that moaned with voices that remembered but could not name. Towers of bone and sinew, drifting sideways in skies with no up or down. These were not hallucinations. They were bleed-throughs. The dreamscape had opened. The source of this penetration was the lament engine. The neural tissues, once dormant, now surged with signals independent of their input. The dead were dreaming again, and their dreams had power. Soon the field staff reported sightings, translucent figures walking just beyond the reach of light, sometimes forming, sometimes unforming. Time became unreliable. Shadows lagged behind movement. Voices called from intercoms, not wired to any room. Then the air turned sour. Fungal growths spread across the equipment, thriving in the synthetic decay fog. Inside the broadcast chamber, slime formed patterns on the floor that resembled star maps, but when compared to known constellations, they matched nothing in our sky, not even ancient ones. The beings came after that. They rose not from light, but from filth. Their bodies were part rotted matter, part raw noise. They bore no faces, only vibrating cavities where perception failed. They walked like ideas in motion, not bound by space. They came from gray space, the borderland between what is and what should never be. These were remnants of the world before memory, beings who once ruled in dimensions parallel to ours, but collapsed into entropy. When the tear opened, it was not just into the dreamscape, but into their realm. The lament engine had summoned them, and more terrifyingly, signals to others still lived. Beyond the breach, somewhere in the dark vastness, echoes returned. The UVB signal, now warped, sent coordinates, not in geography, but in essence. It called to those other remnants, living fragments of the ancient race that had fed on pneuma, the breath of life, like vapor from cups. Their arrival was felt first in sickness. The researchers began to decay while alive. Teeth fell from mouths, hair turned brittle, minds frayed, lost in recursive nightmares. One by one, they became vessels for voices not theirs. Dr. Koss was the last to retain reason. She watched as the lament engine became a pulsing chrysalis, its organoid mass reaching up towards the ceiling like fingers made of marrow and wire. It was building something, a beacon. She realized then that the device no longer broadcasted across Earth's surface. It sent waves into space, into dimensional hollows, not for research, for summoning. Desperate, she returned to the core of Wormhaven and initiated the last failsafe, Protocol Graveglass. It was not designed to close the tear, but to slow its growth by channeling the decay energy into the remnants of the ionospheric array. But even that required sacrifice. The final component was living tissue, a willing neural sacrifice to anchor the counter harmonic. She sat in the interface chair, the device connected to her cortex. As her thoughts fused with the lament engine, she saw them, thousands of dreams, things swimming in the folds of thought, each drawn by the scent of dying suns and unraveling minds. They did not speak, they consumed. With her last breath, she changed the tone. The signal faltered. The terror shuddered. The beings recoiled, but only just. The broadcast continues now, though no one dares admit it. Somewhere between static and silence, the signal persists, and those who listen too closely find themselves seeing places not meant for human eyes, dreamscapes with no waking, echoes with no source. The air still smells wrong near Wormhaven, and the sky there never quite stops humming.